Hans Rosling, Factfulness, 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World and Why Things Are Better Than You Think. Welcome to the immersive summary of Factfulness, 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World and Why Things Are Better Than You Think, by Hans Rosling. Prepare to revamp your perspective on the state of our world as this summary dispels megamisconceptions and unravels the truth about our natural instincts. Get ready to witness the incredible progress humanity has made and discover the hidden reasons behind our negativity. By the end of this journey, you will have a newfound appreciation for the importance of understanding accurate data, examining multiple viewpoints, and evading unhelpful generalizations.
Debunking Megamisconceptions. Extreme poverty rates have significantly dropped in the past 20 years, but many people still believe otherwise. This inaccuracy results from deeply rooted megamisconceptions, such as the dated us versus them mentality, wherein Westerners perceive Eastern countries as fundamentally dissimilar and unable to develop a modern society. The idea of a wide gulf between the so-called developed and developing worlds skews our interpretation of global progress. Over time, as seen through child mortality rates, the number of countries falling under the developing category has substantially decreased. Recognizing and addressing these megamisconceptions is vital for an accurate understanding of our modern world. In the past 2 decades, the level of extreme poverty worldwide has been nearly cut in half. Yet, only a small percentage of people in the United States and the United Kingdom can correctly answer this question. This inaccuracy results from inherent human instincts and what the author terms as megamisconceptions, deeply ingrained false beliefs that significantly distort our understanding of the world. One of these megamisconceptions is the antiquated us versus them mentality, where Westerners see Eastern countries as fundamentally different and incompatible with Western society. The terms developed and developing worlds propagate this misconception because they divide countries into separate categories based on progress or prosperity. For instance, many students still believe Eastern countries have uncontrollable birth rates or that religion and culture hinder the establishment of a modern society. However, the reality is far different. The definition of the developing world is constantly evolving. In 1965, 125 countries had over 5% of their children die before their 5th birthday, a key indicator of a nation's development. Today, only 13 countries remain in this category. This striking change illustrates that the outdated concept of West and the rest has become irrelevant. Consequently, recognizing and addressing these pervasive megamisconceptions is essential for us to have a more precise and just understanding of the world we live in today. Debunking the world's megamisconceptions. Despite popular belief, the world has significantly improved over time, and we tend to overlook the positive aspects due to our natural negativity instinct. In low-income nations, 60% of girls complete public school, and 30-year-old women have spent 9 years in school on average. The number of people living in extreme poverty has decreased from 85% in 1800 to only 9% today. News outlets often focus on negative events, creating a skewed perception of the world. However, advancements in technology and affordable building materials have led to a sharp decrease in deaths due to natural disasters, making communities safer than ever before. Picture this: 60% of girls in low-income nations complete public school, and the average 30-year-old woman has spent 9 years in school, just 1 year less than the worldwide average for 30-year-old men. This illustrates the tremendous progress made in recent years, a fact that many people are unaware of. So, what causes us to overlook these positives? The key lies in our inherent negativity instinct, which contributes to a widespread megamisconception that the world is deteriorating. Contrary to common belief, virtually every measurable statistic, from life expectancy to poverty levels, indicates that the world has actually improved. In 1800, a staggering 85% of the population lived in extreme poverty. Today, that figure has diminished to a mere 9%. However, the news is dominated by stories of natural disasters, crimes, and other unhappy events, resulting in an unrepresentative portrayal of our world's trajectory. In the 1980s, local newspapers barely covered events like ecosystem destruction. Nowadays, we are flooded with stories of devastation from every corner of the globe, which reinforces our belief that recent decades have seen a decline in global welfare. Nevertheless, it's crucial to remember that countless individuals have survived disasters unreported by the media. Thanks to advancements in technology and access to affordable building materials, low-income communities are safer than ever. In fact, the rate of deaths caused by natural disasters has fallen to only 1/4 of what it was a century ago. Therefore, despite the prevalence of negative news, it's essential to recognize and celebrate the tremendous progress we have made as a global community. Debunking overpopulation fears. Often, our brains trick us into believing that trends will continue indefinitely, like a graph with a steadily rising line. This cognitive error leads to a common misconception regarding world population growth. Although it may seem like the population will keep growing forever, experts predict it will plateau by the end of the century. As poverty decreases, families have fewer children, contributing to a leveling off of population numbers. Our misplaced fear and size instincts contribute to our anxiety about overpopulation, despite evidence that it is not a realistic concern. The human brain has a tendency to assume trends will continue indefinitely. This can lead to misconceptions and anxiety, particularly when it comes to the topic of global population growth. Our world has historically seen increased population numbers, which is why we commonly believe this trend will persist indefinitely. However, the reality is that we are approaching a plateau. Experts from the United Nations forecast that global population numbers will stabilize between 2060 and 2100. The primary reason for this leveling off is the decline in poverty levels. As people rise out of poverty, they tend to have fewer children. Centuries ago, mothers bore an average of 6 children, driven by high child mortality rates and the need for extra hands in agriculture or industry. Today, thanks to education, better healthcare, and access to birth control, the average global family size has decreased to 2.5 children. By 2060, the children born in recent years will have grown up and had their own families, bringing the global population numbers to an estimated plateau of 11 billion. However, despite evidence supporting the eventual stabilization of population growth, fear and size instincts still drive our concerns about overpopulation. Our fear instinct, a leftover from when our ancestors faced more imminent dangers, makes us worry about threats even when they don't exist. Our size instincts, on the other hand, cause us to exaggerate the significance of our fears, such as our apprehension about violence. Media exposure leads us to believe violence is more widespread than ever, but statistics reveal crime rates have significantly declined. Ultimately, our instincts often distort our perceptions of reality, causing us to stress over problems like overpopulation that are unlikely to materialize. Contextualize data for accuracy. To challenge our worst instincts and create a clearer understanding of the world, it's crucial to provide context to the data we collect. For example, comparing the number of infant deaths now to those in 1950 allows us to see the significant progress we've made. Additionally, avoiding unhelpful generalizations, especially those based on race and gender, can prevent a skewed worldview. Recognizing that 80% of 1-year-old children globally have been vaccinated against some diseases shatters the generalization that certain regions are destined to remain impoverished. Instead, viewing the world through income levels facilitates a more accurate perception of progress in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Challenging overgeneralization. To challenge overgeneralization, we must travel and see other cultures, gaining multiple perspectives to create a more accurate worldview. For instance, modern-day Afghanistan is working to escape extreme poverty, while South Korea in the 1970s proved that a military dictatorship could still lead to a healthy economy. The world is very complex, and blaming a single individual or group for problems is short-sighted. Pharmaceutical companies may not research cures for diseases that affect the poorest populations. Still, the problem lies not only with the CEO but also with board members and shareholders. Similarly, the refugee crisis may appear to be caused by traffickers, but digging deeper reveals restrictive European laws that make safe travel nearly impossible. Taming the urgency instinct. Overcoming the urgency instinct is crucial for making well-informed decisions. We must acknowledge that complex problems seldom have simple solutions and need careful consideration. Spreading exaggerated messages, even if well-intentioned, can backfire and erode credibility. Ensuring accuracy across fields like education, business, and journalism is vital for supporting an informed worldview and making sound decisions. Our urgency instinct tempts us to make hasty choices that often prove misguided. Critical issues, such as neglected health research or refugee crises, are intricate and require an exhaustive examination of possible consequences. Therefore, clear-cut solutions are rare for these problems. Before making significant decisions, it's essential to thoughtfully assess every potential outcome, relying on factual reasoning even when well-intentioned individuals propose using exaggerations as a catalyst for change. Take, for example, climate change advocacy. Some may believe that presenting catastrophic scenarios will mobilize people into action. However, in the long run, exaggerations may cause feelings of deception, ultimately reducing the credibility of legitimate activists. Prioritizing facts and precision is indispensable in all aspects of life, including education, business, and journalism. Educators should ensure they use current information, as outdated perspectives often perpetuate misconceptions like the West and the rest mentality. Similarly, businesses and investors can leverage a truthful worldview for better decision-making. Africa's promising economic opportunities illustrate this point. Those who invest now will not only contribute to the region's development but also gain a competitive edge. Journalists, like everyone else, are susceptible to biases and instincts. While we hope they provide the most accurate information, it's our responsibility as readers to gather information from multiple sources to develop a comprehensive understanding. By recognizing and curbing our urgency instinct, we can foster a fact-based worldview that supports better decision-making and fosters greater understanding.
Having traversed Hans Rosling's compelling narrative, you have now come face to face with the reality that the world is, in fact, better than most of us realize. The outdated concept of the developed versus the developing world has been debunked, and our instinctual misconceptions surrounding population growth, poverty, and global progress have been addressed. By embracing factual information, multiple perspectives, and avoiding generalizations, one can develop a truer worldview and understanding of the complexities and progress in the world. Aim to combat ignorance, encourage data-driven decisions, and foster a more accurate perception of our global reality, thereby contributing to a brighter and more enlightened future.